Most people live their entire lives asleep. They wake up, they eat, they chase distractions, they chase validation. But deep within the body, deeper than the mind, deeper than the personality, there is a sleeping power, a silent force, a hidden fire, a coiled serpent at the base of your spine, waiting. This is Kundalini. Not myth, not fantasy, not superstition, but the oldest, most misunderstood spiritual technology on earth. Across every ancient culture, Egypt, India, Kemet, Tibet, the early Christian mystics, there's the same pattern, the same symbol, the same message. A serpent rises, and the human becomes divine. This video is not just a lesson. It is an initiation, a guided journey into understanding what this energy is. Why it awakens in some people. Why it destroys the weak. Why it empowers the prepared. And how the rise of this inner fire can transform your entire life. So take a breath. Relax your shoulders. And listen carefully. Because once you understand serpent energy, you'll never see yourself the same again. Before we talk about awakening, power, or transformation, you must understand what Kundalini truly is. Kundalini is not just energy. It is conscious energy, life force with intention, intelligence, and direction. Imagine a river of electricity flowing through your nervous system. Imagine a fire that burns without smoke. Imagine awareness that can move, expand, and evolve. In ancient texts, Kundalini is described as a coiled serpent sleeping at the base of the spine. Shakti, the primordial feminine power. The inner fire, the spark of creation inside every human being. The cosmic energy, condensed into the human body. But here's the truth they don't tell you. Kundalini is not something outside you. It is you. It is the part of you that has not yet awakened. Modern science recognizes the effects: heightened neural activity, increased coherence in the brain, emotional purification, and deep changes in consciousness. But the ancients understood why it happens. They said, when the serpent rises, the human becomes more than human. Kundalini travels upward, through the chakras, unlocking dormant potential, exposing suppressed emotions, and burning away illusions. This is why it is called the inner fire. And this is why traditions treated it with such reverence. Because it can heal you, but it can also overwhelm you. It is not dangerous, but it is powerful. And like all power, it demands respect. In its sleeping state, Kundalini keeps you functioning, breathing, thinking, surviving. But when it awakens consciously, your awareness expands. Your intuitive senses sharpen. Your inner world becomes vivid. Your emotional patterns rise to the surface to be cleansed. Your creativity, sexuality, and spiritual perception intensify. It begins to burn everything false within you, and in that fire, your true self is revealed. In the ancient world, this awakening was the beginning of rebirth. The moment you stop living from ego and start living from consciousness. This is the path of inner mastery. And this is only the beginning. Kundalini has always been described through symbols: the serpent, the fire, the rising current, but behind every symbol is a biological, psychological, and energetic reality. This chapter breaks it all down. Because when the serpent begins to move, your body knows it, your mind feels it, and your life begins to shift in ways you cannot ignore. Let's go deeper. Kundalini may be spiritual, but its effects are unmistakably physical. When this energy begins to stir, three major systems activate simultaneously. 1. The nervous system supercharges. The spine is the core pathway of Kundalini. Your central nervous system, especially the spinal cord, becomes the main channel through which this energy travels. During awakening, electrical activity increases. Neurons fire more rapidly. Communication between brain hemispheres improves. Sensitivity heightens. Awareness sharpens. Some people feel tingling in the spine, pulses of energy, heat rising through the body, spontaneous vibrations. This is not imagination, it's measurable neural activation. The ancients called it the serpent uncoiling. Today, we call it increased neuroplasticity and heightened neural coherence. 2. The endocrine system responds. Every chakra is connected to a gland. Root adrenals, sacro-reproductive glands, solar plexus pancreas, heart thymus, throat thyroid, third eye pituitary, crown pineal. As Kundalini rises, these glands shift their hormonal output, increase dopamine, motivation, focus. Increased oxytocin, connection, compassion. Increased serotonin, well-being, clarity. Balanced cortisol, stress response. This is why spiritual awakening is not just mystical, it feels biologically alive. People report heightened emotions, deep calm, bursts of creativity, a sense of connection to everything. The inner fire changes your chemistry. Science can measure the physical, but the energetic is felt. Kundalini awakens 3 channels. Ida, lunar energy yin, the feminine. Pingala, solar energy yang, the masculine. Sushumna, the central channel, the path upward. When these channels begin to open, you may feel warmth spreading in the spine, pressure between the eyebrows, waves of bliss, lightness or heaviness, spontaneous breath changes. This is the energetic blueprint shifting, the serpent moving toward the crown. Before Kundalini rises fully, it whispers. It gives signals, signs, subtle hints that something deep inside you is changing. Some of these symptoms are gentle, some are intense, but all of them point to one reality: your inner fire is waking up. 1. Heightened sensitivity. You may suddenly notice emotions hitting deeper, intuition becoming sharper, sounds, lights, and energy feeling more intense. This is because your nervous system is preparing for higher awareness. 2. Emotional purging. Old memories may arise. Buried pain surfaces. Patterns you ignored for years come back with intensity. This is not a breakdown, it's cleansing. Kundalini burns what is false so your true self can breathe. 3. Changes in breathing. Your breath may slow down during meditation, deepen on its own, become rhythmic without effort, pause naturally. This is your body entering a higher state of focus. 4. Sudden desire for solitude. When the serpent stirs, you may feel less drawn to noise, crowds, and superficial conversations. You may begin craving silence, nature, time alone, deep conversations instead of small talk. This is your energy system conserving power. 5. Tingling, heat, or vibration in the spine. This is the classic early sign. You might feel threads of electricity, warm currents, a pulse at the base of your spine, energy rising upward in waves. These sensations are the serpent turning in her sleep. When Kundalini truly awakens, life changes. Not gradually, radically. 1. Waves of bliss or ecstasy. Some experience moments of pure inner joy, not tied to anything external. A profound sense of everything is connected. Everything is alive. I am more than this body. These states can last seconds or hours. 2. Enhanced intuition and psychic sensitivity. You may begin sensing people's emotions, energetic shifts, the intentions behind words, patterns others cannot see. It feels like a new sense opens, a sixth sense. 3. Spontaneous movements, kriyas. In deep meditation you may feel your body rocking, shoulders releasing tension, hands forming mudras, head moving gently. These are not acts of possession or loss of control, they are your body aligning. 4. Surge in creativity. Writers, artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, many experience a flood of inspiration. Ideas come faster and feel more meaningful. Your mind becomes both sharper and more imaginative. 5. Heightened sexual energy. This is one of the most misunderstood parts of awakening. Sexual energy rises, but not as lust, as raw life force. Your creative, spiritual, and emotional channels use the same energy. This is why many mystics speak of transmutation, turning desire into power. People fear Kundalini because they don't understand the chaos. But chaos is the cleansing. Chaos is the breaking of the old self. Chaos is the birth of the new. When Kundalini begins rising, 2 things happen. Your illusions burn. Your truth emerges. It's like cleaning a dirty room. Before it becomes neat, everything must come out into the open. Old trauma, old habits, old identities, old fears, they surface to be released. This is not punishment. It is purification. The serpent rises through fire, and that fire transforms you. Most people ignore these early symptoms or feel overwhelmed by them. But if you're watching this video, there's a reason. The rise of inner fire is calling you. Your higher self is preparing you. Your journey is already underway. Kundalini does not awaken by accident. It awakens when the soul is ready. And you are ready. Before we continue the journey upward, before we rise into mastery, awakening, and inner fire, we must clear the fog around Kundalini. Because no spiritual concept has been more misunderstood, more distorted, more feared, and more misrepresented than the serpent energy. Some call it demonic. Some call it supernatural. Some call it too dangerous for normal people. Others reduce it to a buzzword, a trend, a casual meditation technique. But the truth, the real truth, is far more grounded, far more profound, and far more empowering. Let's break it all down. Throughout history, anything powerful has been feared. Fire, electricity, knowledge, sexual energy, self-awareness. The same goes for Kundalini. Ancient teachers didn't hide this knowledge because it was dangerous. They restricted it because people were unprepared. A mind dominated by fear, addiction, ego, or emotional instability cannot handle sudden expansion. Not because Kundalini harms them, but because awakening exposes everything they tried to hide. This is what people truly fear. Their trauma rising, their ego dissolving, their false identity falling apart, their illusions being burned away. Kundalini doesn't destroy you. It destroys everything that is not you. And the ego interprets that as danger. This is the biggest myth. Kundalini is not dangerous. Ignorance is dangerous. Unpreparedness is dangerous. Lack of grounding is dangerous. Fire is not dangerous when you understand it. Electricity is not dangerous when you respect it. Kundalini is no different. Here's the truth. People who meditate for hours without guidance. People who make psychedelics with intense breath work. People who awaken energy while emotionally unstable. People who try to force the rise, these are the ones who face difficulties. Not because Kundalini is harmful, but because they opened a door without knowing how to walk through it. Kundalini is powerful, but it is not your enemy. It is your own inner evolution. This belief kept humanity dependent on spiritual hierarchies for thousands of years. But the truth is simple: Kundalini belongs to you. No one owns it. No one controls it. No one grants it. Every human is born with this energy. Every human has the potential to awaken it. Nature placed it within you for a reason. Can a mentor help? Yes. Can guidance protect you from confusion? Of course. But awakening is an inner process, not a permission slip from someone in robes. Your soul initiates itself when the time is right. No. Awakening does not turn you into a psychic warrior instantly. It does not give you telepathy, visions, or instant enlightenment. Those things can come, but they emerge through integration, not shock. The real gifts of Kundalini are clarity, inner strength, purification, expanded awareness, alignment, purpose, creativity, emotional mastery. These unfold gradually, like the rising sun, not like lightning striking the earth. People who chase powers usually meet the shadow of their ego, not the truth of their soul. This belief is dangerous. No one can force Kundalini. Not through extreme breath work, overstimulating meditations, psychedelics, fasting, sexual techniques, chanting for hours. The serpent rises when the mind is stable, the body is prepared, and the soul has matured. Trying to force it is like trying to pull a flower open with your fingers. You will only damage the petals. Kundalini is a natural, organic awakening. It unfolds with intelligence. Your only role is to prepare the soil. Many people believe that once Kundalini rises, they have reached the peak of spirituality. This is false. Kundalini is not the destination. It is the beginning. It is the lighting of the fire, not the building of the temple. The true journey begins after awakening, learning to harness the energy, learning to stabilize your mind, learning to ground your awareness, learning to integrate the expansion, learning to live from your higher self. Awakening is the spark. Mastery is the flame. While Kundalini itself is not dangerous, there are challenges that come from awakening too fast or without support. Here are the real issues, and how to prevent them. 1. Emotional flooding. When suppressed emotions rise, it can feel overwhelming. Solution: ground through breath, journaling, therapy, or physical activity. 2. Ego panic. The ego fears losing control. It may create anxiety or resistance. Solution: observe thoughts without identifying with them. 3. Energy imbalance. If energy rises but cannot flow freely, you may feel pressure or discomfort. Solution: work on the lower body, walking, grounding, leg exercises. 4. Spiritual bypassing. Some people escape into mystical states to avoid real-life responsibilities. Solution: stay anchored in daily routines and real-world actions. 5. False gurus. Many exploit the concept of Kundalini. Solution: trust your intuition. Seek grounded, non-dogmatic guidance. Kundalini is energy. Pure, raw, unfiltered energy. It is not masculine. It is not feminine. It is not angelic. It is not demonic. It simply is. It amplifies what you are. If you are grounded, it strengthens you. If you are chaotic, it magnifies the chaos. If you are sincere, it reveals truth. If you are driven by ego, it exposes ego. Kundalini is a mirror. The serpent holds a torch, and that torch shines into the darkest corners of your soul. Some people see the light and call it divine. Others see the shadows and call it dangerous. But the serpent itself is neutral. She does not punish. She awakens. Before the serpent rises, you must be ready. Knowledge protects you. Clarity empowers you. Understanding gives you confidence. When you remove fear and superstition, when you strip away dogma and confusion, you realize something powerful. Kundalini is not a mystery to fear, it is a birthright to embrace. It is the key to your highest self. It is the ignition of your inner fire. It is the evolutionary force that turns a human being into a conscious, awakened soul. And now that you understand the myths, the misconceptions, and the real challenges, you are ready to go deeper. Kundalini does not rise all at once. It does not explode through the spine in a single moment. It rises in phases, natural, intelligent, deliberate. This is a journey. A sacred unfolding. A step-by-step elevation of consciousness that transforms your mind, your emotions, your identity, and ultimately, the way you exist in the world. Most people think awakening is instant. But the truth is deeper. The serpent rises slowly, intentionally, layer by layer. Each stage tests you. Each stage purifies you. Each stage calls you to surrender something old, so something new can be born. Let's walk through the stages as the ancient mystics recorded them, and as countless awakened souls have experienced them. Before Kundalini awakens fully, it whispers. You may feel a strange pull towards spirituality, a desire to understand yourself, a sudden interest in meditation or solitude, a growing dissatisfaction with superficial life, a deep longing for something more, something unnamed. This is the calling. The serpent turns in her sleep, and your soul begins to wake before your mind understands why. Your intuition increases. Your emotional depth expands. Your awareness becomes sharper. You begin to sense that life is not just happening outside you, something is happening within you. This is the beginning. This is the moment the serpent rises from its coil. It may happen gradually through meditation, breath work, intense emotional transformation, trauma healing, celibacy or energy retention, spiritual practice, deep introspection. Or it may happen suddenly, in a moment of silence, shock, grief, bliss, or surrender. Signs of awakening include heat or energy rising up the spine, pressure or tingling between the eyebrows, vibrations during meditation, sudden clarity or altered perception, feeling expanded beyond the body. This is the ignition. The inner fire is lit. Your consciousness begins to shift from automatic living to intentional awakening. This is the most intense stage. The serpent now moves upward, and she burns everything in her path. Trauma, fear, ego, old habits, old identities, suppressed emotions, limiting beliefs, false attachments. Everything you avoided, denied, or buried comes to the surface. This is why so many people mistake this stage for danger. They feel the fire and think they are breaking down. But they are breaking open. This stage demands courage. You must face your wounds, your insecurities, your relationships, your shadows, your truth. Not to suffer, but to be purified. The purification stage is the death of the false self and the birth of the authentic soul. Once purification begins, the serpent ascends through the chakras, each one representing a level of consciousness. Root chakra, survival. The serpent stabilizes your foundation. You release fear and build inner strength. Sacral chakra, desire and creation. Sexual energy transforms. Desire becomes creativity. Pleasure becomes presence. Solar plexus, power. Your confidence rises. Your boundaries strengthen. You begin to act from inner authority. Heart chakra, love. Compassion awakens. Forgiveness becomes natural. You feel connection to life itself. Throat chakra, truth. Your voice becomes authentic. You speak what is real, not what is convenient. Third eye, vision. Intuition becomes clear. Perception sharpens. You begin to see beyond the physical. Crown, unity. This is the peak, the merging of individuality with higher consciousness. The rising is not linear. You may move up and down, returning to heal layers you skipped. But each cycle brings more clarity, more strength, more expansion. This is the journey of the serpent. When the serpent reaches the crown, a moment occurs that mystics call enlightenment, bliss state, Christ consciousness, nirvana, samadhi, divine union. This is not mythology. This is an actual neurological and energetic experience. For a moment, sometimes seconds, sometimes minutes, your mind dissolves. The sense of separation disappears. You are not a person experiencing consciousness, you are consciousness experiencing itself. A state of pure peace, pure presence, pure awareness, pure unity. The ego stops. The inner fire burns clean. You meet the self beyond the self. This is the summit of the rise. Contrary to popular belief, awakening is not the end of the journey, it is the midpoint. After the peak, you must return to your human life with new awareness. This is the hardest part for many people. You must learn to ground yourself. Learn to stabilize the energy. Learn to live with heightened awareness. Learn to apply spiritual insight. Learn to balance your human and divine self. This is where discipline becomes essential. Because it is easy to touch enlightenment for a moment. But it takes mastery to live awakened. Integration is the process of embodying your transformation, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. The serpent comes home, but she never sleeps again. This is the final stage, not an event, but a lifestyle. Ascension does not mean leaving the human world. It means bringing higher consciousness into your human world. An ascended individual lives with clarity, moves with purpose, speaks truth without fear, acts from inner alignment, loves without attachment, creates without ego, leads without domination, serves without sacrifice, walks without illusion. This is not perfection. This is awareness. Your decisions come from intuition. Your energy is steady. Your presence transforms others. Your life becomes an expression of consciousness itself. You become a bridge between the human and the divine, between earth and spirit, between form and formlessness. This is the rise of the inner fire. This is the evolution of the soul. This is the destiny of Kundalini. The serpent has risen, and you have risen with it. Before the serpent rises, before the inner fire ignites, before consciousness expands beyond the boundaries of the ordinary mind, there is a sacred preparation. This preparation is not optional. It is the foundation upon which every true awakening stands. Without it, the rise becomes chaotic. With it, the rise becomes graceful, powerful, and life-changing. Every ancient tradition understood this truth. The body must be steady, the mind must be clear, and the heart must be open. The serpent only rises when the vessel is ready. Preparing for Kundalini is not about performing rituals or adopting complex spiritual routines. It begins much deeper, with grounding. Grounding means coming back into your body, into your breath, into the present moment. It means learning to live here and now, without running from your thoughts or escaping into fantasies. You must become rooted in yourself. You must cultivate stability, like a mountain standing firm against the wind. Because when the serpent begins to move, everything inside you begins to shift. Old emotions rise. Old memories surface. Old identities crumble. If you are not grounded, you will feel overwhelmed. But if your feet are planted in the earth, mentally and emotionally, you will experience the rise as a purification, not a storm. Grounding is not silence, it is awareness. It is the capacity to remain steady when energy intensifies. It is the ability to observe your inner world without fear. And this grounding begins with simple things: deep breathing, slow walking, conscious eating, sitting with your emotions instead of running from them. The serpent respects stability. She rises through a spine that is strong, not rigid, a mind that is open, not scattered, a heart that is willing, not closed. But grounding alone is not enough. There must also be purification. Purification is the clearing out of the inner clutter you have carried for years, the emotional residue, the trauma, the beliefs that were never yours, the fear you inherited, the wounds you hid. Kundalini does not rise into a chaotic interior. It clears out the old before it builds the new. And if you begin this clearing before the serpent awakens, the rise will feel like transformation rather than destruction. Purification does not mean perfection. It means honesty. It means facing your anger, your guilt, your addictions, your attachments, your insecurities. Not to punish yourself, but to understand them. When you look directly at your shadows, they lose their power. When you avoid them, they grow. The serpent burns what you refuse to face, so the more you face now, the smoother the fire becomes later. Many people fear this stage because it requires vulnerability. But the truth is simple: what you hide controls you, what you face frees you. Purification is liberation. It is the shedding of old skin. It is the release of everything that weighs down your spirit. It is not easy, but it prepares you for a life far greater than the one built on fear and suppression. As grounding stabilizes the body and purification cleanses the emotional field, the final preparation arises: inner readiness. This is not a technique. It is a shift of intention, a surrender, a quiet willingness. Inner readiness means you stop seeking awakening as an escape, and instead welcome it as evolution. It means you are no longer awakening from desperation or ego, but from a genuine desire to grow. Readiness appears when you stop rushing, when you stop forcing, when you stop comparing your journey to anyone else's, when you realize that awakening is not a race, but a ripening. A fruit cannot be forced to grow before its time, but when it is ready, no power on earth can stop it. The same is true with Kundalini. You prepare your vessel, you strengthen your mind, you clear your heart, and then you wait with openness, not impatience. Inner readiness is the quiet moment when your soul whispers, "I am willing." It is the moment when fear softens into curiosity, and curiosity deepens into trust. This readiness is not loud. It does not announce itself. It arrives in silence, in humility, in a sense of alignment. It is the realization that awakening is not something happening to you, it is something happening through you. When grounding anchors you, purification clears you, and readiness opens you, the serpent recognizes that the time has come. She senses the stability of your roots, the clarity of your emotions, the honesty of your intentions. And in that harmony, she begins to rise not as chaos but as light, not as destruction but as rebirth. This is the true preparation, not rituals, not secrets, not external ceremonies, but the shaping of a vessel strong enough to hold fire, steady enough to channel power, and open enough to receive transformation. When the serpent finally awakens in such a vessel, the rise is not frightening. It is liberating. It is not overwhelming. It is illuminating. It is not the collapse of your identity. It is the emergence of your truest self. And now, the path continues. But as the serpent rises higher, something else begins to happen. Something subtle, something quiet, something that feels almost divine. The mind begins to slow down. Not in a dull way, but in a clear way, like the surface of a lake becoming still after years of storms. Thoughts lose their sharp edges. Emotions lose their power to hijack you. Desires stop dragging you around like a puppet on strings. You begin to experience something you may not have felt in years, inner space. And in that space, intuition awakens. Most people think intuition is some vague feeling, some random flash of insight. It's not. It's a natural ability, but it only becomes strong when the inner channels are clean, when the serpent energy climbs beyond the lower centers and reaches the higher ones. Suddenly, you begin to sense things you didn't sense before. You feel people's intentions. You see through lies effortlessly. You recognize opportunities with clarity. You avoid danger without knowing why. You start making decisions not out of fear, not out of impulse, but out of a deeper intelligence that was always inside you. And as this intelligence grows, something profound occurs. You begin to trust yourself. For the first time, you stop looking outside for validation. You stop waiting for someone to tell you who you are. You stop running to the world for answers you can only find within. Because the serpent fire shows you a truth most people never discover, that the greatest guide you will ever meet is the one living inside your own spine. But the rise of this energy is not just about mental clarity or emotional strength. It's about transformation at the deepest level. Old habits begin to crumble. Old addictions feel foreign, almost childish. Old patterns of sabotage lose their power. It's not that you're forcing yourself to be disciplined, it's that discipline becomes natural. Almost effortless. Because the more the serpent ascends, the more your consciousness expands, and the more your actions reflect a new identity. And then comes a moment, subtle, quiet, yet unforgettable, when you feel a warmth in your chest. Not the heavy heat of stress, not the burning of anger, but a radiance, a glow, a fire. It feels like someone lit a candle inside your heart, and its light begins to spread through your entire being. This is the inner fire. Not the fire of destruction, but the fire of rebirth. A fire that consumes illusions. A fire that awakens purpose. A fire that reveals your true nature. And the more you breathe into it, the more it grows. You feel alive in a way that words cannot capture. Your senses sharpen. Your presence deepens. Your awareness expands. You begin to realize, this is what your spirit has been longing for. Not external success. Not temporary highs. Not worldly validation. But alignment. Alignment with your higher self. Alignment with your destiny. Alignment with the silent power that has always lived within you. And as this fire continues to rise, the serpent energy reaches the crown, the peak of the human experience. And when it does, something extraordinary happens. The separation between you and the universe begins to dissolve. You no longer feel like a small individual trapped in a chaotic world. You feel connected. Vast. Infinite. You feel like a wave finally realizing it is part of the ocean. This is not a fantasy. It is not a myth. It is the potential encoded within every human being. But reaching this point is not about rushing, forcing, or chasing mystical experiences. It is about preparation. About alignment. About purification. Because the serpent energy rises naturally when the vessel is ready. And every step you take toward discipline, clarity, self-awareness, and inner stillness is a step toward that awakening. So if you feel the stirring inside you, if you feel the pull, if you feel the quiet fire beginning to glow, then know this, your serpent is awakening. Your inner fire is rising. Your transformation has already begun. Just breathe. Just allow. Just continue the journey. As the inner fire strengthens, something fundamental shifts in the way you experience yourself and the world. You begin to notice that your reactions are changing. Situations that once triggered anger now meet a steady calm. Challenges that used to overwhelm you now awaken a quiet strength. Even the chaos around you begins to feel distant, almost irrelevant. Because when the serpent energy rises, your center shifts from the mind to the core of your being. You stop living from the surface. You start living from depth. There is a steadiness that grows inside you, a presence that wasn't always there. It feels like an anchor in your chest, a grounding force that nothing external can shake. Moments that once filled you with anxiety now feel like opportunities to observe yourself, to understand your inner landscape, to step into your power rather than react out of old wounds. This is one of the first signs that your consciousness is evolving. The world doesn't change, you change. And because you change, everything looks and feels different. That is the magic of the serpent fire. It transforms perception before it transforms reality. It shifts your inner world so that your outer world can finally align with who you are becoming. And as this shift deepens, your relationship with desire begins to evolve. Most people are controlled by their desires, pulled, pushed, and manipulated by impulses they don't understand. But when the serpent awakens, desire stops being a chain and becomes fuel. You no longer chase pleasure out of emptiness. You channel your longing into purpose. You no longer drown in cravings. You rise above them with clarity. You no longer confuse lust with connection. You transform raw passion into spiritual power. This is what ancient mystics meant by transmutation, the art of shifting lower impulses into higher energy, the art of turning instinct into illumination. And as you master this process, your inner fire grows brighter, steadier, more controlled. You become a guardian of your own power rather than a prisoner of your own urges. And slowly, without force, without struggle, a new identity begins to form. You start moving differently. You speak with more intention. You make decisions from a place of wisdom, not fear. You begin to feel the presence of your higher self guiding you, not in words, not in visions, but in the subtle alignment you feel with each action you take. Then comes the deepening of awareness, the realization that life is not happening to you, but through you. That every emotion, every challenge, every person entering your path is a mirror, a lesson, a catalyst for awakening. You begin to see the architecture behind your experiences, the patterns behind your habits, the lessons behind your pain. This is when the serpent fire begins its greatest work, burning away illusions. Illusions about who you thought you were. Illusions about your limits. Illusions about your worth. Illusions about what life can or cannot give you. And as those illusions crumble, what remains is truth. Truth that you are not weak. Truth that you are not broken. Truth that you are not small. You are a being of immense energy, immense potential, immense spiritual fire. And every step you take on this path brings you closer to embodying that truth. You begin to live with intention. You begin to act with purpose. You begin to see with clarity. You begin to love with authenticity. You begin to rise, naturally, steadily, powerfully. And maybe for the first time in your life, you feel free. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer a slave to your own unconscious patterns. The serpent fire has begun to rewrite your inner world, and through that transformation, your destiny starts to shift as well. A new chapter of your life begins, one rooted in awareness, strength, and inner mastery. And as long as you keep walking, as long as you keep breathing, as long as you keep honoring the fire within, the serpent will continue to rise. As the serpent fire settles into your system, something remarkable begins to unfold, not dramatic, not explosive, but deeply transformative. It is the phase most seekers overlook, yet it is the phase that determines whether your awakening becomes a momentary experience or a new way of life. Integration. This is where the energy you've awakened begins weaving itself into your daily existence. The insights you've gained stop being ideas and start becoming actions. The discipline you've cultivated stops feeling like effort and begins feeling like identity. The presence you've discovered stops being a temporary state and becomes the way you move through the world. It is in this stage that you begin to embody your awakening. The serpent fire no longer feels like something rising. It feels like something living inside you, guiding you, stabilizing you, strengthening you. There is a subtle awareness accompanying you through each moment. You become conscious of your breath without trying. You notice your thoughts without being consumed by them. You feel your emotions without drowning in them. You walk as if you are both experiencing life and observing it simultaneously. This duality, this ability to be in the world but not trapped by it, is the essence of integration. You begin to hold silence within even when the world around you is loud. You begin to move with intention even when chaos tries to pull you in different directions. You begin to choose responses instead of reacting on autopilot. It's not that challenges disappear, it's that you rise above them with a clarity that others cannot comprehend. And with that clarity, your relationships begin to change. You stop participating in drama. You stop entertaining negative cycles. You stop giving your energy to people who drain your spirit. You begin setting boundaries, not from anger, but from awareness. Some people will be inspired by this new version of you. Some will be intimidated. Some will quietly drift away. And all of that is part of the path. Because with integration comes a profound realization. Not everyone can walk with you into your next chapter. The serpent fire doesn't just awaken your power, it awakens your discernment. You begin to see who aligns with your evolution and who anchors you to your past. And as this discernment sharpens, you begin making choices that reflect the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. You begin prioritizing stillness, discipline, intention, growth, purpose. You start noticing how every action affects your energy, What lifts it? What lowers it? What strengthens it? What scatters it? Life becomes less about survival and more about mastery. You wake up with a sense of direction, even if the full path is not yet visible. You move with a quiet confidence, knowing that your inner fire will guide you. You speak with more authority, not from ego, but from alignment. You begin to feel the universe responding to your energy, opening doors, removing obstacles, shifting circumstances in ways that feel almost orchestrated. This is the reward of integration. Life begins to flow. Not because it becomes easy, but because you become aligned. Your mind is clearer. Your emotions are steadier. Your body feels alive. Your spirit feels grounded. Your purpose feels closer. And slowly, day by day, your inner and outer worlds begin to match. You start living in harmony with who you truly are. Your actions reflect your awakening. Your presence embodies your power. Your life becomes an expression of your inner fire. This is not the end of the journey, it is the stabilization of it. Because after integration comes expansion, the next phase, the next rise, the next awakening. The serpent never stops growing, never stops evolving, never stops guiding. Your only task is to continue walking. As your inner fire stabilizes and integration becomes your natural rhythm, something extraordinary begins to unfold, not in an instant, not in a dramatic surge of energy, but through a gradual expansion of awareness that feels both subtle and revolutionary. You begin touching a level of consciousness most people never reach, not because they are incapable, but because they never look within long enough to discover it. This chapter marks the crossing of a threshold, the shift from self-improvement to self-realization. At this stage, the serpent energy is no longer rising out of struggle. It rises out of clarity, out of resonance, out of alignment. You no longer fight with yourself. You no longer resist your own evolution. Instead, you surrender, not in weakness, but in profound trust. Trust in your spirit. Trust in the path. Trust in the intelligence that has been guiding you from the very beginning. And as you surrender, your consciousness expands. You begin to perceive life not as a random sequence of events, but as a tapestry woven with meaning. Every encounter feels intentional. Every challenge feels like a lesson. Every blessing feels like recognition. You begin to see the hidden architecture of existence, the patterns beneath the surface, the synchronicities that guide you, the quiet whispers of intuition that lead you exactly where you need to be. Your mind becomes sharper, not through force, but through silence. You think less, yet understand more. You talk less, yet speak with greater impact. You chase less, yet attract more with ease. This is the paradox of higher consciousness. The more you release, the more you receive. Your sense of identity also begins to shift. You stop defining yourself by your past, by your wounds, by your limitations, or by the expectations the world placed on your shoulders. Instead, you begin to see yourself as an expression of something vast, something ancient, something powerful, something eternal. You realize that you are not merely a mind, not merely a body, not merely a collection of experiences. You are awareness itself. The witness. The observer. The consciousness behind the eyes. And in that realization, fear begins to dissolve. Not because your life becomes free from difficulty, but because you no longer feel threatened by the challenges you face. You understand that obstacles are not punishments, they are initiations. Every difficulty becomes a doorway. Every setback becomes a test of alignment. Every moment becomes an opportunity to expand. This expansion brings with it a new relationship with time. You no longer feel rushed. You no longer feel behind. You no longer compare your journey to that of others. Because you recognize that your path unfolds at the pace your spirit requires. You understand that divine timing is never early, never late, always exact. Your sense of presence deepens. Your perception sharpens. Your intuition becomes a guiding flame. You move through life with a confidence that is quiet yet undeniable, the confidence of someone who is no longer lost in their own illusions. People around you begin to feel it too. They sense something different about you. A calm, a depth, a gravity, a silent authority that cannot be faked or learned, only awakened. And as your consciousness expands, your heart expands with it. Compassion begins to flow naturally. Not the weak compassion that sacrifices your boundaries, but a wise compassion that sees the suffering of others while remaining firmly rooted in your own strength. You stop condemning. You stop judging. You start understanding. You begin to see humanity through the lens of awareness rather than ego. In this state, clarity becomes your companion. Peace becomes your foundation. Presence becomes your way of being. You begin to feel the world with more depth, yet it affects you less. You become more sensitive, yet less reactive. You become more open, yet more grounded. And through this expansion, something even deeper emerges, a sense of purpose that feels inevitable. You begin to feel called, pulled, guided towards something meaningful. Not a goal created by the mind, but a mission arising from the soul. This is the gift of higher consciousness. The awakening of purpose. The remembrance of who you truly are. The understanding that your life is not random, it is intentional, sacred, and powerful. And from this place of clarity and expansion, one final transformation awaits. A transformation that completes the journey and reveals the true nature of the serpent fire within you. At last, the journey reaches its culmination. The inner fire that once stirred quietly in your core now burns steadily, illuminating every corner of your being. You are no longer a seeker chasing fleeting moments of awakening. You are no longer a vessel merely receiving energy. You have become the serpent itself, a living, breathing embodiment of consciousness, power, and light. This is the point where the human and the divine merge. Where every thought, every emotion, every action flows from the aligned core of your being. You no longer react, you radiate. You no longer seek, you embody. The energy of the serpent courses through you naturally, effortlessly, and with purpose. It is no longer a force that must be cultivated, but a force that lives in you, as you. You move through the world with quiet authority. Your presence shifts the energy around you. People feel it. Situations respond to it. Life flows with a rhythm that is no longer dictated by chance, but by the harmony of your awakened consciousness. You understand the subtle mechanics of energy, how to channel it, how to transmute it, how to use it to elevate yourself and others. Your desires are no longer distractions, they are tools. Your passions are no longer impulses, they are instruments of creation. And in this state, fear dissolves, doubt fades, resistance falls away. What remains is clarity, purpose, and unwavering presence. You see the illusion of separation and know that you are both a unique expression and an inseparable part of the infinite whole. The serpent fire has awakened not just your energy, but your consciousness, your soul, your destiny. Love transforms in your being. It is no longer conditional, transactional, or dependent on the external world. It flows freely, radiant, expansive, and illuminating. Compassion is natural, wisdom is intuitive, and power is gentle yet undeniable. You have learned the dance of giving and receiving without attachment, the balance of strength and surrender, the art of mastery without ego. And perhaps most profoundly, you understand the responsibility of this awakening. Power without consciousness is destruction. Energy without alignment is chaos. The serpent teaches that true mastery is service, service to your higher self, service to life, service to the evolution of consciousness itself. Every decision, every action, every breath is an expression of this sacred alignment. You have become the serpent of light, the embodiment of awakened energy, disciplined mind, integrated heart, and transcendent consciousness. You are fire and water, earth and sky, thought and being. You are both observer and participant, creator and creation. The rise of the inner fire has not ended. It has only reached a stage where it flows through you as life itself. And now, having walked this path, having faced the shadow, embraced the fire, and integrated the light, you understand the truth that has always been whispered by mystics, sages, and awakened souls. The power, clarity, and presence you sought in the world has always resided within you. You only needed to rise, to awaken, to allow the serpent to guide you home to yourself. The journey does not end here. It expands infinitely, moment by moment, breath by breath, choice by choice. But the foundation is set. The fire is lit. The serpent is awake. And you, at last, are alive in the truest sense of the word, whole, free, luminous, and unstoppable. Your inner fire is no longer something to chase. It is you. You've just walked the path of the serpent. You've felt the fire awaken within. You've seen the shadow, faced it, and emerged stronger, clearer, and more alive than ever before. But this is only the beginning. The rise of your inner fire is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong journey. Every moment is an opportunity to expand, to elevate, to embody the power that has always been inside you. If this journey resonated with you, if you felt the stir of the serpent awakening within your spine, then don't let the fire fade. Subscribe now, hit the notification bell, and join a community of seekers who are mastering their energy, transforming their consciousness, and rising into their full power. Like this video if it sparked something in you, leave a comment sharing the shift you felt today, and share this message with someone who is ready to awaken their inner fire. Because the world needs more awakened souls, more clarity, more presence, more light. Your journey doesn't end here. It begins anew with every breath, every choice, every step. Rise with intention. Ignite your inner fire. And let the world feel the presence of a soul fully awake. Step into your power. The serpent is awake. And so are you.